Hey, I'm Sutton, and that's John. This is the Self-Care Disciples podcast.
We put out episodes weekly. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, and Amazon Podcasts if you fancy.
Brr, 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 brr. Do us a favor and go ahead and give us a follow on whichever platform you're listening on. That'd be really cool.
We would also be eternally grateful if you give us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple, and make sure to turn on the automatic downloads.
Yes. This helps us feed the algorithm gods and gives us some more traction. It's shameless. We have to do it every episode. I don't like begging, but I'll keep doing it. I don't care. You guys, leave us a review. Go follow us. We give you all kinds of fun things to listen to, and we try to spit some game in here, and it's free to listen. So do us a little favor and give back and give us a little review or some shit if you get the time. And if you don't, that's cool too. Whatever.
I mean, I don't mind giving, a little call to action, because if you like us, sometimes people forget to like their favorite podcast. I do it all the time.
Dude, how often are you scrolling and you see a post that you relate to and you send it to a few friends and you may even repost it to your story, and then maybe the person that reposted it likes your story, and then you're like, oh cool, they saw it, but then you look at the post and you're like, oh fuck, I didn't even like it or comment on it or like give them any sort of anything. I'm a dick. So
Not too
that's why,
often.
dude, it happens to me all the time. I just scroll passively all the time. So for me, I've been trying to be more of if I am going to get in a scroll hole, I'm trying to like get the content creator something out of it. Anyways,
Ooh, I like
we'll go ahead and
scroll
get.
hole. I like that.
Oh yeah, scroll hole, doom scroll. That's what I called that tapestry we came out with a few years ago. With it's like a geisha staring at an iPhone, and it just has like a big blue light beaming into her face,
I
and she's
remember
smoking
that.
a cigarette or something. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, Tiago de Oliverio made that. They go by like something crazy spelled on Instagram. I don't remember, but anyways, we'll get into our check-in and then we'll do a merch update. So, John, you want to hit us with your check-in?
Yeah, let's do it. Today was kind of ass, to be honest. I woke up a little late, not feeling it. I missed the meeting early in the morning. Wasn't feeling very well. Everything kind of just seemed like it wasn't going right. And I had a bunch of technical difficulties with my work computer. I'm kicked out of my email and my Teams app on work right now, which
Oh
really
my God,
sucks.
that's so annoying when you get kicked out of shit like that because it makes work so hard when you're corporate.
Yeah, and so now I got to come up with a workaround. I got an early meeting tomorrow, and then I ran into some technical difficulties editing the podcast too. For some reason, my computer froze a bunch while I was editing, but I was able to get last week's episode out on time, so I'm really proud of myself for that. Uh, like I told you on our pre-game before the podcast, I finally bought the whiteboard. I pulled the trigger, bought that shit. It's not the one that I wanted, but it's going to be the one that's going to be it's going to be here on my desk, which is actually even better because it's going to be staring me right in the face.
Yes,
And I might have
much
impulse
excited.
bought a me too, much excited. I might have impulse bought a new knife, which I am super excited about because it's one that I've wanted for a long time.
I don't know if we've told our listeners about your knife fetish or not, but that's something we can get into here in a little bit since this is your episode. So let's say something you've done for self-care for yourself today, or something that you're proud of. Well, you know what? You told me something you're proud of. You told me you're proud of yourself for getting the episode out on time, and I'm proud of you for
I
that too.
did,
So hit me
yes.
with something that you did for self-care for yourself.
Oh, prior to this episode, I was feeling extremely anxious and kind of just pissed off with no real reason why. So I took Nanny on a nice long walk. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
Dude, that's really cool, and I'm proud
So
of you
that was
for
a
it
self
too.
care thing.
And he's not lying. He really did text me that right before, because I said the same thing. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. He was like, yeah, I just went on a walk to clear my head. I'm like, cool. All right, let's do this. So that's cool. My
It was also
day, I
reassuring.
hate.
Oh, sorry. It was also reassuring that you
No, go
said,
ahead.
"We need this." You
We
said, "We
do.
need
We
this,"
really do.
and it pumped me up, and I told myself, "We are fucking doing it." Because
We
you're
do.
right. I need this.
The we need this outlet. Even if it's just us talking to each other and bullshitting and getting to know each other more and having the time set aside once a week for a slice of friendship. You know what I mean? That's great. I love that. The fact that we get to record it and share it with people that might relate to us is even better. Um, so my check-in, I hate to be a downer, like, or the opposite, you know what I mean, of yours, and say that I had a great day when you had a bad day, but I did. I had a great day, man. Um, I got a lot of stuff done. I stayed on task. The whole team seemed like they were in a great mood. Everyone got their appointments done in a timely fashion. All their tattoos went really well. Everyone was stoked on their work. The clients were extra stoked on the work. Mary was extra happy, the shop dog. Future, our shop cat, is healing up very nicely. Um, a few weeks ago, if our listeners didn't know, he got his paw stuck in a door that was totally my fault. I was opening the door, and he likes to stand in front of it because it's glass so he can see outside. And I opened the door and he ran and it got caught, but he's fine. He's been to the vet 3 times now for 3 different bandage changes and some sutures, but his last bandage change should be Monday and he should be all good. Um, I'm getting a puppy tomorrow. So today, um, I spent some time decluttering, cleaning, puppy proofing, and yesterday I spent some time getting all the stuff needed for a puppy. Just all the odds and ends you're going to need, like puppy pads, puppy food, yada yada, new leash and collar. Um, her name's going to be Megan Doja Lockhart, so MDL, which is the same initials as Mary, which is Mary Dog Lincoln. Um, I'm going to call her Doja because I think that would be cool, Mary and Doja. They're both kind of like slang terms for weed, and I've always been like a stoner at heart. And I named her Mary Jane because I thought it was a cool name. And when I was trying to think of names, I thought all the different things I came up with, Doja was my favorite one, and everyone at the shop agreed. So it just felt right. And Doja is like a really cool ass slang term for weed too. It's like a slept on term. Um,
Oh,
you
is it
millennials
really?
would you wouldn't fucking know. Fuck yeah, you never heard the term Doja?
I mean, Doja Cat. I know that
See, that's
term.
what
Oh
everyone's
my
going to
god,
think of, and that's
I
fine.
sound so
But
old right now.
she's calling herself Doja. Doja Cat is just her way of saying dank pussy. She's saying like I'm hot. That's all that Doja Cat means.
Oh.
So
Well,
Doja
Mary,
is it's not Doja, it's Doja. It's kind of like dozer, like Doja. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have that ja in there. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I'm
You don't
not.
get it. It's
I'm
okay.
too big of
It's
a
okay.
novice
Don't
when
worry.
it.
Don't worry. You can be the whiskey man, and I'll be the weed man. Anyways, I'm
I
getting
mean,
Mary
when you said
her best friend tomorrow. Go ahead.
when you said MD, I immediately thought of MD50, like Mad Dog.
I thought it was 2020.
Is it 2020? Oh yeah, you're right. It is Mad Dog
Yeah,
2020.
Mad Dog 2020, brother. Oh, dude, the watermelon was my favorite one. That's like
That
Boone's
might
Farm
be.
on crack. Whew.
Oh my god, I love Boone's Farm.
God damn. Anyways, we're getting distracted.
Sorry.
I am proud of my squad today, man. So a few weeks ago when I was telling you guys I was trying to change my outlook on things and have more of a higher resonation of vibration. I've been listening to the podcast more and more, which has been a reminder of me of for me to do that. And it's been keeping me up in spirits. And I've just been getting back in the mentality of everything's going to be okay I'm not sure how, but it's going to be okay. And as long as I believe that, it always works out. As long as I do the next right thing, the universe is looking out for me. So I'm proud of myself for getting in that mindset, and I'm proud of my squad for kind of doing the same thing because they saw a shift in me, and I'm not like their boss necessarily. Like I own the shop, yes. They work at my shop, yes. But Tony and Diglett are not employees. They are artists, and Jackie is technically an employee, but dude, she fucking runs that shit. Like she's a badass, and I could not do that. I couldn't do this without all three of them. I don't know what self care would be without them. So I'm proud of them for getting in that mindset too. And something I've done for self care today is my routine. I have been really good about my routine, um, and just making a list and printing it out and putting it on my wall and framing it really helped. And it's silly, but it's great. I absolutely love it. I couldn't be more stoked. I'm so excited for tomorrow. I get to do a tattoo, a cover up, and it is a repeat client. It's her second time getting tattooed by me. It's her second time traveling to get tattooed by me. And the first time she traveled over an hour and she had never even met me. Um, and that level of trust is something I never take for granted. I'm so super, super grateful for. So that's it. I'll stop rambling. That's all I have for my check in. John, you got anything for a merch update for us this week?
I do.
Let me see
As
that
always,
shit, boy.
I'm holding it.
Oh my
This is
god,
our witchcraft mug where
dude, that's so sick.
I'm drinking battery acid, the Italian battery acid, courtesy of Jules.
Mama Jules, that's right. I got a little bit of an announcement for you, John, for Mama Jules. I'm going to shout it
Yeah.
out on here because she is actually probably our most avid listener. She listens more
Oh,
than
she
I
is.
do because um, she likes the sound of our voices, and it makes her feel comfortable, like her friends are in the same room with her. So she falls asleep to it sometimes just to like fucking zen out, and that's one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. But um, she is going to become a part of self care clothing and self care tattoo, and
Gems
we're
by
gonna have
Jules.
her gems by Jules. We're gonna have her do tooth gems. We're gonna have her um, help us out with the self care clothing aspect of product development and show her the ropes on social media and all that jazz, so she can get her thing going and she can leave this bullshit industry she's in right now, where they don't treat you right, and that would be the medical field. And I'm sorry, and I love all the people that work out there and do that, but you deserve to be treated better, and it's okay to leave. And I'm going to help her facilitate that because that's what I do. I like to help my homies get where they need to be. I like to see. I feel like I've got a good like kaleidoscope eye of seeing people's talent and seeing what they're capable of. Um, And that was hilarious. If you guys didn't hear that, if John doesn't edit this out, and I really hope he doesn't, Nana just scat straight through the fucking house. That was hilarious. She's going ham. You guys gotta love having dogs. Um, so
Well,
yeah,
it is
that
going to be
was
on
my
video now.
short little. That was my long little shout out. My short long little shout out for Julie. She's killing it, and I'm proud of her. And we have some stuff in store for Jackie as well that I'll talk about later. But that cup is sick. You're constantly making me need to up my game, and he's always coming in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, you can see the products that John is talking about because he always fucking has it, and he's prepared because he's the opposite brain of me. Oh, dude, that ornamental flower above the oh, that's so beautiful. Those are my favorite
You like
types of
those?
ornamentals. Yeah, I love those. I was just drawing a few of those earlier, actually. I was releasing some new flash on my story. But anyways, my merch update. I've got 4 new lobby signs. They are for anyone. You don't have to have a shop. You can put them up in your house, whatever. One of them says "Bold will hold." Obviously, that's about traditional tattooing. It's pretty sick. One of them says, "This is a safe space." our other one says free tattoos, and then in parentheses, really small underneath, it says tomorrow, with a little exclamation point. Just a little kicker there for shits and gigs. Because honestly, sometimes you guys will be in the middle of a tattoo, and anything to get your mind off it is great. So little shitty dad joke like that is funny. And then the last one we have just says all are welcome. And the story behind that one, obviously we want everyone to feel welcome, but there was a coffee shop in town that used to say all are welcome above it, and then they switched into like some kind of religious thing, and then they took it down and it just said welcome. And then like less than a month later they shut down. And we had this guy working for us doing social media scheduling for a few months, and I was like, man, I want to make that sign. I think that'd be really cool. And he was like, do it. Add it to the lobby signs. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So we have 4 new lobby signs, and then I have an entire new blanket collection on the website right now. You can go check those out. There are 10 new blankets. Some you will see I have released as woven blankets before, but these are all fleece. They're 60 by 80. They are made to order, so they do take about a week, sometimes a week and a half to ship out. I'm going to be running a sale in 2 weeks as well. Buy one, get one free on all these woven blankets. So if you guys are interested, they are $65 on the website plus shipping, unless you hit $100. That's my merch update. That's all I got.
Nice. That's a full catalog, dude.
You
Love
know
it.
what I'm saying?
Wait, should we
Anyways,
also talk about the tapestries that you're putting out? Do you still have that promotion going on for the pizza and the Reaper?
I do. So this won't be out for another week, but my sale's probably still going to be going on. The sale that I talked about last week, where I have my tapestries. I have 2 tapestries for $10, one for $35, 2 T-shirts on sale for $13, another one on sale for $17. That's a long sleeve. There's a huge sale going on my website. Tons of stuff. We don't need to get into all of it, but yeah, huge sale going on, and that's going until all of those items are out, because I need to make room for stuff that I want to make, and I'm kind of sick of looking at some of it, to be honest with you. So if you guys could just do me a favor and go buy all this shit so I don't have to look at it anymore, that'd be great. I love you forever.
I would buy the Reaper one and the pizza one, but I am completely out of room now. Well, I do have a spot over there. I have
My
some
guy,
room.
my guy. I'm gonna send them to you anyways, whether you buy them or not.
Yeah, but
So
friends support friends, and I will always buy them. And I've, besides the one time where you paid me in tapestries for Memorial Brooklyn, I've always just bought it.
I
Let
did
me
do
buy it.
that. I was like, "Are you cool with some merch? Because I'm kind of poor right now." And you were like, "You know what? Actually, that sounds good."
No, I don't think dude, I don't even think that we discussed money because I was like, dude, I'm just here to help out a homie. You don't have to pay me.
That was one of the nicest things you've ever done. And for our listeners, one of the nicest things you've ever done for me. I'm sure there's nicer things you've done for people and plenty of other things, but I had an impromptu idea to do a tour with self care clothing and myself in New York City. And I'd never been in New York City before. And I set up 4 different places I was going to go slang merch, one of which was like one of the coolest shops that I think I've ever been to this day. And I'd never met John and all these things, first of all these things. And he just like, I was like, I don't know, what was it, about a month beforehand? I was like, hey, do you think you can help me do this? Was it even
Something
that
like
much
that.
notice?
No, it was more than that because I think I didn't I help you set up the magic cobra thing with Woods?
Yes, actually, you got me in with Woods because you sent me. Yeah, that was it. Because I was like,
Because you said
I
you
should
needed
probably hit up a couple
dates.
extra places. Yeah, and then you told me of a couple extra places, and I hit up Citizen Inc. and I hit up Magic Cobra. And dude, Woods is such a nice guy. I'm so glad that you got me linked up with him. He ended up being in the Labor of Love book. I ended up getting tattooed by Claudia there, and she ended up being in the book too. And Sammy Riviera. Um, but
I don't even
anyway,
know Woods like that.
John
I just
fucking
met him once, and but I
yeah.
know that Magic Cobra would fit your your brand.
They
So
were super cool. But anyway, y'all, John basically came and just like slanged merch for me for an entire day for some mediocre vegan food and some tapestries as compensation. So that was super sweet of him.
again, it was just a hangout because it was the first time we were meeting. And honestly, dude, I was so tempted to take the other 2 days off to help you out on the other days just because it was fun.
Dude, we got to do that again. We need to do another New York tour, but it's Self Care Disciple tour. And what we'll do is we do 3 different tattoo shops where we set up and we slang merch, and 3 different tattoo shops that night. We interview the owner or someone there, interview them in person, me, you, and them. How sick would that be?
That'd be cool. I was also thinking when you were giving out shout out to Jules, what's gonna happen when we get fucking mics and shit?
What do you mean? What's going to happen?
Because she likes the sound of our voice. If we once we get like the mics all set up,
Oh my
mine's gonna get
God.
blown.
Just so you guys know, we know that the sound quality is not great. We're doing this through like what we have, and John is not an audio engineer, although he does jazz the fuck out of these episodes. And you have no idea how hype I get when I hear like a random sound bit or like just listening to it in general. It makes me ecstatic. But yeah, you're right. When we get our mics hooked up and everything all jazzed up, she's gonna be like, "Dude, this is like the best ASMR voice ever."
I do want to say one thing because you were talking about social media classes last week for your crew, right? I
Hmm.
have a feeling Jules is going to absolutely kill it because
Oh, I know it.
I didn't even know, like, she introduced herself, I think, in a video to me, and that's never happened before. It's always like a very formal, like, "Hey, how's it going?" kind of small talk. Like right out the bat, I think she sent me a video, and I was like, "Whoa!" And it was she reminds me a lot about of you actually,
Yeah,
because she
no,
was
she's
just
very much like me.
it was just
Just
like
straight to the
boom,
point, just
made me
like
laugh
that
like crazy.
bluntness. We're like very Kramer-esque if you're a Seinfeld fan. I noticed after hanging out with her very regularly over the course of a few months how much we were alike because we're both kind of a lot. We both have a lot of energy because we're very passionate about what we love and we are very in tune with our emotions because we've had a lot of things happen to us and a lot of therapy. So when you've had a lot of trauma and a lot of therapy, you get to know your demons a little closer than normal people do. Um, like something I want to say about therapy so that people can kind of like get a different perspective on it. Something about therapy that most people don't think about um, is that it's basically just facing your demons. So if you're one of those people that like is up late at night because you're thinking about this, that, and the other, and you're dwelling on whatever, the easiest way to stop being chased by your demons is to just turn around and face them. So that's what therapy is. And people that have been through a lot that go through therapy just get to know their demons a little bit more and you get more familiarized with them and you get they're less sharp, they blunt over time, and they don't affect you as much. So people like that I connect with, and she's not the first person I've encountered that is very similar to me in that aspect, and I really love it because it gives me perspective on me, and it um I don't know, it helps keep me in check sometimes too because I'm like, okay, like I can be a lot and she can be a lot and we can help each other figure out where that limit is sometimes because we know when you have someone in your life that's super close to you that's so much like you, it's almost like maybe that's why they're in your life, so that you can see those good and bad qualities of yourself and help each other kind of like balance. But anyways, I just got off on a tangent. I didn't mean to do that. This episode is not about Me, this episode is about John. Let's get into our topic.
The thing about like mental health though is like I find that the most interesting people or the people that I get along with the most are people who have gone through stuff or have faced their demons because a- anyone who's kind of just like willy-nilly through life and has no problems, they're just not that interesting,
Dude,
you
they're not
know?
interesting at all. And I'll say one more thing before we get into our topic. Um, and I told Jules this when we met, and I stand by it. And I've been saying this for over a decade. And anyone that thinks it's crazy can think it's crazy, but I bet there's people out there that relate to it. I'm not a huge like I'm not into religion. I'm not into um like an afterlife or any of this shit. I don't know anything. I have no idea. I'm indecisive on it. Okay, so I'm agnostic, I guess you'd say. I don't know what the fuck there is, but there's something. Um, I
Right, because you
believe
believe in energies.
I do believe in energies, and I believe in potentially there being past lives. And I think that people like Jules and I that talk a lot and like never shut up, in a good way and bad way. I think that we may have had more past lives and we just have more to say because we've been through more and we've had more hobbies and loves and interests and heartbreak and
Experiences.
trauma and experiences in general. Yeah. So it's just a little tidbit that I try to, it's something I came up with to make myself feel better about how much I fucking talk. But I've come to maybe find some sort of truth in it. Like I feel some sort of truth in it. Um, but yeah, I'll stop getting off on my bullshit hippy dippy energy.
No, I love that though, because that's the type of energy that I kind of run on. And sometimes I feel a little embarrassed about it because it's so, to the regular person it's what, the kids call woo woo, right?
It's
Like
like
it's out there.
magic. Yeah,
Dude, I believe in magic. I believe in
yeah,
magic and I believe in, you know, I believe in whatever I believe in and I'm very accepting of whatever anyone else believes in because we're all going through stuff. And if believing in God is going to make you a better person and it's going to help you through your day, then God is great. If believing in Satan is what, tickles your taint, that's great too. As long as you are tolerant and accepting of people and you're not hurting anyone, who cares? It's no one's business what you believe in.
that's
That's
exactly how I
my
feel,
belief.
man. Yeah, you totally hit the nail on the head there with that. That's
As
how I
long
feel
as
too. As long as
as
no
long
one's
as
getting
you're trying
hurt
to
and
better
you're,
yourself, exactly.
yeah,
As long as it makes you feel good and it makes you feel like a better person and you're progressing, more power to you.
fuck yeah, dude. And with that note, I will say, um, this week's topic is going to be the opposite of last week's. If you guys didn't listen last week, I talked for 45 minutes straight without letting John say a word edgewise, and then let him talk for about 10 more seconds, and then talked for another 45 minutes about my life, because it was like an interview based thing last week's episode for me, and then this week's episode we are interviewing John, and we're going to give you guys some history on him, some backstory, and just let you get to know him and why you should or shouldn't give a fuck about listening to his podcast. Because believe it or not, this is his podcast too, motherfucker.
At the same time, even though I didn't even realize that you had talked for 40, 50 minutes because I was just like,
Oh, dude, I have no idea how long I talked.
but it was great. I knew parts of the story. So when I got the full story and you told it so well because it was in chronological order. I thought it was an amazing story. And the funny part about it, and we can tell the listeners, is when we were discussing the topics, we were talking about interesting tattoo stories. And you
Yeah,
told a really intricate, interesting tattoo story about how you got into tattoos.
and I didn't even realize it was like interesting at all.
You didn't even try.
That's how it
Yeah,
goes,
you're
though.
like, I have
But
no
anyways,
interesting tattoo
I was like,
stories.
I don't have anything interesting. But anyways,
Turns out
yeah.
you
So
were the main character of one.
I'm going to interview John and let him take the reins and do whatever say whatever he needs to say that he feels is important that you guys should know about him. I'm just going to start it with one question and we'll go from there. And that question is, what was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was my devourment tattoo.
Oh, fuck. I love that. If you guys don't know who Devourment is, let them know, John.
So as soon as I turned 18, the anticipation of being of age to get a tattoo was so exciting. And it was literally between a Disgorge tattoo, and at that time, Disgorge was my favorite death metal band, or Devourment, also one of my favorite death metal bands. And I decided on Devourment, and I even remember where I went. It was Daredevil Tattoos. The artist, his name is Seth Woods. He's an amazing American traditional artist, and he also has a great neo traditional portfolio. And me being like a dick, like I can only imagine how much of a non-ideal customer I was, because I went in there and I was like, let me get this gore shit done. And he had no idea who Devourment was, but he's like, yeah, let's do this weird worm thing.
He was
And
like,
so I
yeah,
got
man,
it.
250.
Yeah, it really was like 250, like 300. And I
That's
was so
exactly what I would have
excited.
done it for.
But dude, he cared about, he put so much care into it. And he's like, dude, you want to play some of this stuff? And I immediately was like, you want to listen to Devour the Damned? You want to listen to Baby Killer? Let's do it. Because I was still in that
Bro,
young
yes.
18-year-old, just like, oh yeah, I'm fucking tough with my camo shorts. Look at me.
Yeah.
And I think I was like as cheesy as to like wear a Devourment shirt to the tattoo appointment.
I would have
And
done
I
that
think I
shit
my
too.
yeah, and I even brought someone with me. I don't remember who it was. I think it was my best friend at the time. This girl, this normie girl, and she had never been in a tattoo parlor before. Yeah, it was real strange. But yeah, that was my first tattoo. And after that, I just got a bunch of really ridiculous tattoos after that. Oh, I got my tattoo with my mom, so we got bro tats that
Oh,
I
what is that?
yeah. It's a pocket watch with the time of my birth. So she
Oh,
has it
that's
on her
cool.
back, and I have it on my thigh. Oh, sorry, my calf. And we got like a little gem in there with like a little one of those peppermint candies, those red and white swirl candies. My
Oh, I
mom
love
thought it
those.
would be cool, and I thought it'd be cool because we always used, when I was young, I used to always say, sweet. That's fucking sweet. And so my mom was like, why don't we get a sweet in there? So we got a sweet in there.
Oh,
and and it's crazy because that tattoo on my mom's shoulder has lasted like forever. Lines are still super bold, super clean. I've gone through different sizes: small, medium, large, extra medium. So this thing is has just warped a little bit, but color's still there. I also have I think in this within the same year I also got some other bullshit that I got by an apprentice friend that I've been desperately trying to cover up. And it's actually one of the only spots where like my entire body, I will put sunscreen on my entire body except for this one tattoo in hopes that the
because you're like,
UV
I
rays
just
just
hope this thing
blast that
fades.
shit.
Fuck it. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love that. What was that tattoo of, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a Queen of
You don't have to
Hearts.
say. Oh,
No,
okay.
it's supposed to be an American traditional Queen of Hearts. And I got it with a friend. And she was supposed to get a card too, but she ended up just getting like the Queen of Hearts, like the Q and the heart. I got the full blown fucking heart, which is not cool, but totally
I
fine.
don't know. I think it's pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait until you see it, bro. I think you actually saw it, and it must have been that bad that you just erased it from your memory.
You're
It's
probably right.
real bad.
You're probably
It looks
right
like
because I don't
she looks like
remember it.
she's
But
touching
then
herself
again,
at this point.
I will say when we hang out, we tend to get pretty fucking schwasty. We like to have a good time together.
I
It's
do at
fun.
least. But yeah,
Anyways,
this tattoo I got, it was great at the time because I was like scene kid thin, and now I've beefed up. I've gone through some shit, and this thing blew up, and her face is blown the fuck up, and it looks like she's touching herself. So,
Oh my god,
if
that's
there are any
hilarious.
tattoo artists who want to challenge and want to buff this thing out, by all means, hit me up. DM me, Sleep Terror Clothing,
Sleep
Instagram,
Tear
Twitter, Facebook.
Clothing. If you want to put the sickest cover up ever in your portfolio, hit this bitch up. Okay, so your first tattoo was probably the coolest, one of the coolest first tattoos I've heard of in my friend group. Um,
I actually got
where
to
did it
show it to Mike
go?
Wachowski
Oh,
from
dude,
Devourment.
that's crazy. That's really
Yeah,
crazy. So where did it go from there for you, tattoo wise? Like, so how long was it between that and okay, I love this. Like, I want to be covered, and you're planning the rest of your body.
it was almost immediately after the first tattoo. I wanted to get covered up, like completely tattooed, and I had this image of one black and gray sleeve, one colored sleeve. I don't know why. This is some dumb shit that people think of when they're young, I
Hey,
guess.
no, I know plenty of people that do this, and I have plenty of clients that do this, and it's not a dumb idea. It's actually cool.
All right, my bad to anyone who thinks that it's not dumb. I'm just saying that it was dumb. It felt dumb to me now thinking about it. But I was also coming from that perspective of tattoos where like it's still taboo because it's like early 2000s at this point. Not everyone has a tattoo back in that day, and it was still
And
kind of
your
rebellious.
family were kind of be shitty about it still then, like early 2000s.
Yeah, you can only imagine how shitty they are. Not shitty, but how disappointed they are now that I have
Yeah, fuck
this
them.
many tattoos. But it's my body, not theirs. And like I said, you do what makes you feel good and what makes you feel whole, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about your body because it's not theirs. That's how I've always interpreted it. That's just
You're damn
my
skippy.
logic.
No, I agree
But
wholeheartedly.
yeah, after like shortly after that, I was on a war path to get tattooed as much as possible, hanging out at tattoo shops. Was hanging out at Daredevil quite a bit early on, and that's even before I even knew the history of Daredevil. That it was like one of the oldest tattoo parlors in New York City.
Tell
I
me
had
a
no
little bit
idea.
about that because I don't know anything about it.
So Daredevil uh, got its reputation as being the oldest tattoo parlor or one of the longest lasting tattoo parlors, and they've gone through so many like celebrities at this point. Like Johnny Depp gets tattooed there. I had no idea. I just figured it was a really cool spot. But
That's
it's
pretty
one of the
cool.
landmarks of New York, New York City tattooing. It's kind of like when we talk about New York City pizza, there's Lusardi's, Ray's, Patsy's. They're one of the OGs, pretty
What's
much.
that place
So
that
if you
you
ever come,
browned out at when I
dude, you
came?
tell me you're the one who wanted to go there.
It was right by Times Square. It was not me that wanted to go there. It was you and Celeste who said, "Oh, there's a pizza place right by Times Square that everyone has to go to and all this shit."
Now that you're setting the scene, I 100% know how it panned out. You probably said you want a pizza, and Celeste was probably really gung ho to play travel guide,
You're
and she was
damn
like,
right.
I've heard everyone who's anyone needs to try this pizza, and then we ended up going.
Well, I think actually, before we get super sidetracked, I think I was being kind of touristy, and I wanted to see Times Square, and I didn't know where it was, and I wanted to get some real deal pizza, like real deal New York pizza. And she was like, "Well, there's this place here, and it's right by Times Square." So we went there. I think that was my fault, but it was dank as fuck. I ate a whole pizza,
You know what's funny? I have yet to find that pizza place again.
dude. You didn't even eat any of it.
I
You
know,
left
but I
without
was like,
pizza.
I couldn't eat the pizza. I had to
Oh
leave.
my god. He was just puking in bushes. But anyways.
But sorry to get sidetracked. And that's just how, that's just how this podcast is. Like I get very distracted very easily.
We both have
But
ADHD. Mine's diagnosed and his is soon to be.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine.
I'm not worried about any of
I'm not worried about any of it.
that. I'm trying to do something. Go ahead.
But yeah, like this I was getting tattooed at a time where people would go in and it really felt like therapy because people would like tell the tattoo artist, what the tattoo meant to them and all this shit, and like Flash wasn't even in my on my radar at that point. So a bunch of my tattoos all had some sort of significant meaning. Like just the tiniest stuff. And yeah, that's just pretty much how it went. And I started getting a lot of significant tattoos, and that was a big phase. My entire sleeve is ode to my mom and dad with their Chinese zodiacs. There's a rooster for my mom, a snake for my dad. Those are their Chinese zodiacs. I think the moment I realized that tattoos were just for fun and it's not supposed to be, some sort of open book or anything more than just fun was when I got my Chiodos tattoo that I talked about a couple episodes back. I went to Orrin Hurley, who was also working at Daredevil at the time, years after the Devourman tattoo, and he was the coolest fucking dude. He was like, "So you want a geisha?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, what kind of references you think? And I was like, honestly, if you want, I'm cool with neo traditional. I think this is exactly what I said. I even remember it to this day. I was like, a neo traditional geisha, leaning towards the Japanese side. And he's like, okay, what kind of profile you want for the face? I was like, you cool with Sasha Grey? And that's what we went for.
What the fuck does that
Yeah,
mean?
dude, that's how I was vibing at the time. He was just like, are there any girls you want it to look like specifically? And I think I said Sasha Grey.
Oh, okay, okay. Profiles is in that. Okay. That's a cool
Yeah.
question to ask. I've never thought about like when you said what profile, I thought you meant like side profile, front, like 3/4. That's a pretty
Oh
cool
no, no.
question
Oh
to ask.
no,
I
my
love it.
bad. Yeah, he was a pro. He like walked me through everything, and this is like bare arms John. This is the starting a sleeve John, and it was a 7-hour session. I sat through it like a champ, and it was we had great conversations, and I actually uh met up with him again. This is now I got that tattoo in 2000. I want to say 2010, maybe 2009, and we're in 2024, and this tattoo has stood the test of time. He actually took a picture of it, and we did a comparison of when he still had the old picture, and it looks,
We got a fresh
besides the
versus
things
healed.
fading, it looks great so far.
How many years in
And
between did you guys get to take the picture?
2009, 2010, 2023, so a long time. What is that?
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'll show it.
That's really nice. Hell yeah.
It's
Show
still
it for
good.
our YouTube. Yeah, that's fucking great, dude. Wow, look at the blue in there.
I'm
Really,
so
really nice.
surprised that the blue still lasted, but it's by far the best healed tattoo I have. And so I've always thought very highly of Oren, and I actually want him to do a bunch of other stuff for me now that I know that he is a owner of Three Kings. Not that that matters, but all I'm saying is he is a local boy in New York, and Three Kings is a legit place. Uh, they're also one of the only places where you can go in and there's flash up the wazoo. Like all of the guys there and girls there have flash just ready to go, and they get so excited if you pick flash from their walls.
Dude, that's how it should go. And I don't, if you're listening and you're a client, like you like to get tattooed, and you go places and they don't have a lot of options for you, that's a red flag. Um, they should have So many options. They should be excited. They should want to tattoo you. You should never get tattooed somewhere where you feel like you're bothering them because you came in and you're trying to ask for the service they provide. So that's really cool that they're like that. Um, Let me ask you this. How many people from that shop have you been tattooed by?
Two of them. Anthony did this wizard from his flash book, and Oren. So yeah, I think just two. But one thing to add, I think as coming from the client perspective, there's this almost expectation that you have to get something custom, you know, and more so now, people are doing flash specials, or they show their flash on their Instagrams. I don't think a lot of customers know that flash is available. And part of my switch between a lot of custom work and switching to flash is that part of me just wants to give up control, because I, I've I think
Exactly.
I'm
Yes.
as someone who likes to get tattooed, you are technically a collector of art. And that's how I see
Yeah,
myself,
man.
as a collector of art. I remember every single tattoo experience that I've had. I remember every single artist, and I love every single one of my tattoos. Even my botched fucking Queen of Hearts. I still love that experience because it was fun. It's when we talk about like memories that are going to last, you are making a memory with the person who you're getting tattooed by. So you should definitely do your research and make sure you like that person, because you're going to be sitting there for a while. And if you don't enjoy your experience, it's going to be an extremely long time.
Yeah, dude. And if you get tattooed by somebody once that you didn't have a great vibe with, it's probably going to be like that again the second time. So you shouldn't do it. And I want to throw this in real quick before we get back to another question I have for you. But I just, I want to say, it gave me a lot of reassurance when you said that you remember every experience you've ever had. And you're not just an average client. Like you're someone who owns a tattoo brand. You have been getting tattooed for what, 20 years at this point? 15 at
Yeah.
least. You have the majority of your body, like the normal spots people get done. And some spots people normally don't get, like your hands and stuff like that. Like you're an avid collector. You're what I would call a serious collector. So the other day, I made a silly post on my Facebook about something, and some tattooer commented on it and said like, "Yeah, I'm a real deal collector, and at the end of the day, it's not about the experience; it's about the tattoo and what it looks like and how long it lasts." And and to an extent, I agree with that because like I have several tattoos on me that are incredible and they're flawless technically, but I had a bad experience and I haven't been tattooed by that person again. And whenever anyone compliments them, my tattoo, when they see it, I say, yeah, man, they're like that. That's an awesome tattoo. It's perfect. Yada, yada. Didn't take them long. Didn't cost much. Yada, yada. But I never say I had the greatest experience and I've gotten this other tattoo from them too. And I've also gotten this and I've also gotten that. And that's where I want to stand apart. And when that tattooer commented on my shit and said that, I thought like, yeah, I agree to an extent, but dude, and I replied back. I said that's cool, but I want to provide an experience too because the experience lasts just as long as the tattoo, and as long as you're alive, yes, I feel like that is a fact. Um, After you die, yes, the tattoo's lasting longer because it's going to be there, but that's just my little tidbit. The experience matters, dude, and tattooers need to fucking recognize that shit. Because I come from the perspective of a client first. I was a client far before I was a tattooer, and most tattooers forget they used to be just clients too. They were just people who wanted to be a tattooer. So stop treating your clients like shit and give them a goddamn good experience.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, one of the things I love to do, especially when I'm traveling with my wife, like just around, the country or wherever, like, how people buy souvenirs and stuff like that. I like getting tattooed. I love
Yeah.
going to places that I've never been and getting tattooed. We went to Colorado Springs, and I posed a question like, are we getting tattooed? Are we going to get some flash? And it all stems from our, like, we had been to, like, Celeste and I had been together for at least 3 years, and we had never been on a vacation outside of New York and Kansas City, where her family lives. It was never just like her and I going on a vacation. And one day, she and I got a little drunk, and she goes, "Do you want to go on a vacation?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." She's like, and
You
so
damn straight.
we literally just kind of randomly picked a state, and I think we picked Nashville. And this is also before my love of country, but Nashville solidified my love for country. Anyway, we picked Nashville, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I know that Gold Club Electric is in Nashville. We should definitely hit them up for tattoos." So she had also been bugging me for a while about getting married, and the light bulbs went off, and I was like, "Oh my god, how cool would it be if I staged a proposal?" So, like, the next week after we bought the tickets the same day. I bought the tickets, got the hotel, so excited about it. I called Gold Club Electric and I was like, "Hey, so I'm wondering if, we could stage a proposal where my wife and I, we love getting flash. So we're gonna come in. I'm gonna pick some flash. She's gonna pick some flash. She's gonna get tattooed first. I'll go next. When you put the stencil on, can you put 'Will you marry me' on it?" And she normally always comes to take a look at my tattoos before I get a tattoo, so it doesn't look dumb or it's not in like some like strange place.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
she ended up, taking a look at it and saw it. "Will you marry me?" And little did she know, like, the shop was filming too, which was super cool. So we got the footage of the proposal, and and that just kind of started the whole thing of us getting tattooed wherever we travel. And that's gone to Kansas City. Oh, not Kansas City. Sorry, Colorado, a few other places, and we're trying to do it at more spots. We were in Vermont, but there was just no time to get tattooed. And also, dude, the tattoo parlors in Vermont is just fucking game's weak. Sorry.
I can't imagine, like, as much as you talked shit on Vermont when you were there, I can't imagine you guys getting tatted while you were there. Um, that's really cool, though, man. I love that you have that with her, and that one, that you travel together, and two, that you have something to do that you know you're going to do when you travel together. That's really cool, and that kind of ties into like our thing we talk about with routines, and like giving yourself a break and just having something already picked. Like when you go to a restaurant, you're like, oh, well, I go to Applebee's. Well, I order this one thing, and then that's something I don't have to, like, a one less decision you have to make. Because when you go on
Yeah,
vacation, sometimes it's like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Well, hey, if you know every time you go on vacation that you're gonna get tattooed together, that's one less thing you got to do. That's fucking cool. I love that, man.
I stand by, like flash tattoos. It's a win-win scenario for the client and the tattoo artist, especially if the flash is by the tattoo artist who is tattooing you, because not
Oh,
only
that's
are they
yes,
doing,
I agree to that
yeah,
too.
it's not only something that they're super stoked about, but they're stoked that you're stoked about the one that you picked them. And so
Yes,
there's an immediate connection right there, and that's the one thing that's a one downside about custom work is that, yes, the tattoo artist is doing it and it's the one that you want, but you're not
there's a
100%
little
sure
bit
if
of
they're into it.
soul lost.
Right. And
Like,
that's why the devourment tattoo, like, it means something to me, but the experience, if I were to get it by someone like, Paul Booth or like a Dan Hank, like someone who's like into that type of music, or oh fuck, I forgot the guy who did the Black Dahlia murder. Um, the Black Dahlia murder logo, John
I know who
something.
you're talking about. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like one of those
Yeah.
horror artists who
Yeah.
know devourment, it would mean more. But being naive and being 18, I just wanted to get it done, no matter
And
what,
that's
like no
okay.
matter the cost. Yeah,
That's okay
totally
too,
okay.
though.
And that's one thing that I think a lot of people who are trying to get tattooed don't understand is that in that respect it is a little forgiving, you know? Like, yeah, the tattoo artist who tattooed your arrow or whatever little custom thing you did for a walk-in may not remember you, but at the same time, like it's on you, and you remember the experience, you know,
Yeah.
and that
And
that part it lasts forever because that
and
shit
it's not
hurts.
yeah, and it's not black and white. Um, for anyone, the tattooer or the client, it's not black and white, and there's a level to each scenario. You know, like you going in and getting a devourment tattoo from someone who's not a huge fan, didn't know what it was, yada yada, but you still love the tattoo. You had a great experience. You still have it and don't regret it. Then that's fine. It's just that added level of it could have been a little bit cooler of an experience for you and the artist and yada yada. You know what I mean? It boils down to just tangents and personal preferences. And that's something I've been trying to
Yeah,
like let go of lately. I've been trying to let go of my personal preference on things lately, and it's been so freeing. Let me tell you, dude, especially on social media. Because when I see a comment that I don't agree with, now I don't even feel like commenting and arguing with some dickhead. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. That's their opinion. I don't care. We all have them.
yeah.
It's great.
I mean, at the same time, as someone who likes to collect tattoos, I've also fostered amazing relationships with tattoo artists, even to the extent of like I've learned so much just from getting tattooed. Just like I think my like whip shading technique actually does come from
I
like
was
traditional
literally
style
just
whip
talking
shading,
about that.
dude.
Remember when we were doing live?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You saw me live. I was just kind of like, it's a shoulder thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a wrist thing that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people think it is, and I learned that from getting tattooed. I learned stippling from getting a stippling tattoo
Yeah,
and
dude.
stuff like that. And uh, but yeah, uh, you know, when I had aspirations of becoming a tattoo artist, it came to me at this one spot, Allied, where Midwest Phil started out at, where I got that's actually the place where I got a lot of my tattoos done in a year period where I just enjoyed being there. So I was like, yeah, you know, I got the money, I'm gonna go, and I was just getting tattooed regularly. And this guy, Benny Haft, who did my portrait of my late French bulldog, he was just throwing knowledge at me. I didn't even ask for an apprenticeship, but he was like, "This is Pike lettering." I'm like, "Okay, cool, cool." It
That's
was like
cool.
almost
That's
like he
cool.
was grooming me, but I wasn't asking for it. It was just like it was just a convenient spot because Allied was somewhere where I hung out a bunch, and if I was in the neighborhood, I would go and say what up to the guys and girls and puppies because puppies were allowed there.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, and they actually do a really cool thing for like a feminist awareness thing, and they do like a flash event. I forgot what it's called. I'll link it in the description, but it's a super cool event that they host where it's for survivors of you know assault and just a general awareness event, which is super cool. But me
That
and
is really
Benny,
cool. I love
we
that.
yeah, me and Benny, we got along really well, and um, if there was ever an opportunity to get an apprenticeship, that was probably going to be it. But then one day I was going to go and get tattooed by him, and he left. He went somewhere else. I don't know where he went.
Damn, dude. Now I think your next apprenticeship opportunity will be when I open a shop in New York and force you to work with me. But anyways,
I think
so
I
your
would be a
first
much
tattoo
better.
was
I think I would be a much better store manager than a tattoo
probably,
artist.
but you know, store managers and the gatekeepers, the whatever you want to call them, they call him the gatekeeper, the you know, manager or whatever. I'm blanking on all the stupid funny names, but they end up being tattooers a lot of the times, and they end
Yeah.
up being people like you who like maybe was gonna be one and like owns a tattoo brand or like was a piercer or is a piercer or some shit like that. So I could see you falling into that, but um, I want to
I
know
don't know. Maybe.
what got you into art, and I want to know how did it turn into like tattoo art and how did it turn into sleep terror? Where did all this come from? Like, where did your inspiration for where you are now, how'd that develop?
So it all started, and this is quite poetic because my first tattoo is a devourment tattoo. I love devourment art. Their art was second to none in my opinion. Mike Majewski, who's the vocalist of now vocalist of devourment, he did the
Several
artwork.
several bands though, right?
Hmm?
He was the vocalist of several bands though, right?
I think so. They've gone through so many vocalists at this point, and
Yeah, you're right.
I it's been such a long time I don't remember, but it was just that death metal art that really had my attention, like the Cannibal Corpse art, the Suffocation art, the obituary art, like all those huge hyper realistic eyeballs I was super super into. And so I started to, it all started with making death metal logos. And I actually did a lot of freelance work for a lot of death metal bands during the MySpace days. And that's when I realized that I could actually make some money doing logo work. And funny enough, I met Aaron Crawford, who also now owned, he had a band back then on MySpace. I forgot the band, but it was a deathcore band. Uh, they sounded like Black Dahlia Murder, but he was also doing death metal art at the time. And for those who don't know Aaron Crawford, he now owns Cavity Color, which is a huge horror brand. They do so many licensed collabs, it's insane. But he was pushing out tons of this like super detailed, really like messy looking art, very horror inspired. And so I that was a big inspiration for me. And he actually did a bunch of work for my death metal band at that time. And that's just kind of how it
That's
started, was
incredible.
just,
Fuck yeah, dude.
yeah, doing a bunch of band merch. And um, I was in a band called Decrepit Cadaver.
I
And
love that.
I met so many bands while I had that band. And I was doing merch for a lot of New York City bands at that time. It was a really fun time. Like I met Will Romer from Mortician, which, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, I never thought I would do.
You were like,
And
oh, I've got a death metal boner.
yeah, I was like, dude, Zombie Apocalypse is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Insert the pinch harmonic that they use to bleep all the cuss words in Metalocalypse right here.
And that just kind of snowballed to, and it was all thanks to MySpace, where I started doing all these logos for people and charging them money for logos. Slowly that evolved into band merch. I was doing a bunch of merch for, I've done merch for the Acacia Strain, bunch of other, just like all those type of
What?
bands like in that genre. Yeah,
Dude, I had no idea. That's so cool. You know how much of a huge Acacia Strain fan I am? That's incredible to know that you've done artwork for them.
yeah,
Fuck yeah.
all in merch. So Vince from the Acacia Strain, he had the guy from All In Merch contact me for this piece that I did, and it was like they didn't commission it. It was just something that I made. It was a lobster, like a
Hmm.
roided out lobster that said bottom feeder based off of the acacia strain, and they bought it.
That's
I don't know if
cool.
they ever printed it, but they bought it, and that's when I
That's
was
so
like,
cool.
oh my god, I can actually do this, you know. And I was making like as like someone fresh out of college, I was making like a decent amount for someone, living at home. And eventually I was able to move out and live with my ex-girlfriend at the time, just doing freelance design work. And that's just kind of how it panned out. Um, I realized I missed some chapters of the Sleep Terror saga,
Yeah, go
but
back. It's fine.
I was also doing Sleep Terror as well, and there was like a mesh between the two. And but band merch
So
was
go
really
back.
the the glue.
You were doing MySpace logos. You were doing bands logos on MySpace, and then you started Sleep Terror in the MySpace days, or that was
So
going on.
Sleep Terror actually happened during college. The idea behind Sleep Terror happened in college when I started suffering from these terrible episodes of sleep paralysis. And my therapist at the time told me, keep a dream journal. So I started a dream journal, and
So
most of
tell us,
the
before you get
original.
into that, tell us a little bit about sleep paralysis for our listeners, because some of
Oh,
them
sure.
might not know what it is.
Oh, you're right. So sleep paralysis is when you abruptly wake up from REM sleep and your body is completely paralyzed, but your mind is awake, and you're
Mhm.
fully lucid during this state. And it's basically uh, a pretty terrifying episode where almost your dreams and reality are one, and you can't differentiate the two.
It's
And the
basically
most
like you're
terrifying part is you
hallucinating.
can't move. Yeah,
Yeah, you're hallucinating, but you think you're awake.
you are awake.
Oh,
You
you
are
are
100%
awake,
awake,
but you think you're sleeping.
but you're awake, but you know you're asleep. That actually sounds more terrifying than while I say it.
Now you've got me confused. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so you are asleep, but you think you're awake, and you can't move, basically, is what it is. You're not
You
awake.
are
You are asleep, but you think you're awake.
No, you are awake. Like as in, let's put it this way. You're in the middle of REM sleep. You're in the middle of a dream, and
Okay.
abruptly the dream bottoms out, and you are present, awake, eyes open, awake. So what you're
Okay.
seeing is your reality, and your dreams come out into
They're
the
still
reality
going.
that they're still going. The first
Okay.
time I
Holy shit, John. I okay, you explaining it just now. I'm so glad you just did, and I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but
No,
I've
no,
had a
no, it's
complete
fine.
misconception on it the entire time. I thought that sleep paralysis was you are asleep, you're having a dream, it's a nightmare, and then all of a sudden in that nightmare you think you woke up, but then the nightmare keeps going and you can't move. I had no
It's the other
idea that it's like the other way around where you're having
it's
a
the other way around.
nightmare and you're all this shit's happening and then boom, you wake up and you can't move, but the nightmares keep going. What the fuck? Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's way scarier. Way
It, it's
scarier.
a it's pretty terrifying. And the first time I ever
No wonder
experienced it
you
was,
needed an outlet like a whole fucking brand to get over this shit.
well, I just used
Well,
it. That's
not
like
get
my
over,
coping method.
exactly. You don't get over it. It's just something you got to
Yeah.
deal with,
So
right?
yeah. So when you hear people talk about, or you see these memes about like shadow people, or like the man with the hat, those things are real. And funny enough, it's like a common thing for people who have sleep paralysis. And maybe that was also the first telltale signs that I had anxiety, because I've had it since I was a kid, but I didn't know what it was. So I just thought that everyone else had this and this was normal, where you would be asleep, suddenly you wake up abruptly and you can't move. There have been times where I've tried to fight to wake up, to the point where I bit my tongue to try and wake up, and it's almost impossible.
Damn, dude, that's crazy. I had no idea that you would cause like physical harm to yourself. I mean, it makes sense because I'm sure it drives you mad.
Yeah, it's
Just
it's
not being able
really
to move. What the
scary,
fuck?
and it takes a lot of mental it takes a toll on your body in the morning, because when you wake up, you're just like, it's almost like you're underwater, and you're deep sea diving, and you're trying to get all the way up to the top to get up to get air, and it's just like a huge struggle. So the mental toll it takes just to wake up from these type of like episodes is a lot. So I started a
Man,
dream
I just
journal.
connected with that statement you said so much. That trying to swim to the surface and not being able to get there, man.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure part of my, like, I've had derealization episodes. For those who don't know, derealization is where you almost have like a permanent or semi-permanent feeling of being out of your body and not feeling like you're in sync with reality.
Like you're watching
Uh,
everything happen. You're not actually
yeah,
a part of it.
kind of, exactly. I'm pretty sure part of it has to do with my episodes with sleep paralysis. But that being said, I haven't had one in a very long time. I'm not really sure if that's because I have been fighting sleep for the longest time, uh, or it's just that my brain is just too wired to have one. But I haven't had one in a very long time, and I've even been able to teach myself to kick out of the sleep paralysis before it happens.
Okay,
So
so I'm sorry,
oh,
go
I was
ahead
going to say
now.
sleep paralysis, for those of you woo woo folks, falls under the same category of lucid dreaming and also astral projections. So it's one of those things where there's this weird phenomena that happens in dreams. And some people channel it to have lucid dreaming and get control of their dreams. Some people gain control of being able to have that outer body experience to astral project. I somehow, I think, just because of a necessity to fight the sleep paralysis, have been able to kick out of paralysis before it happens. Um, but the scary part is, it's that shit's like a power bottom, man. Once you leave, the cheeks of sleep pull you back in.
Oh my God, get the fuck out of here. Every time I think I'm gone, they pull me back in. But I want to say, when you said the part, oh fuck, now I'm blanking. And this is
The
why,
deep sea diving.
as an nope, this is why, as someone with ADHD and object permanence issues and all these things, this is why I interrupt people all the time, because I make a connection to something someone said that makes sense, and I'm like, oh, I had an epiphany on something important, and I gotta interrupt them because I'll forget. But honestly, most, like 90% of the time, whatever I was gonna say wasn't as important as I thought I was gonna say, anyways. So I don't know. It
It's all
doesn't
good.
matter. If
Let me just get.
you tried to, yeah, get back into your thing.
Oh, sorry, I'm on a roll here. So sorry, and this is where
Now
you and
you
I
do your
differ,
thing.
because your story is so chronological. Mine is all over the place. So hopefully this has captivated the listeners. Anyway, sleep terror happened
Bounce
in
around,
college.
baby.
Sleep paralysis. Journaling, created those journals into designs because I was already doing band merch. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just draw them just for fun. And the idea came around to create a clothing brand out of these designs, because some of them were were super cool. And in the beginning, a lot of them were very, very subconscious oriented. You can look back. I have an archive on my site. Like there's a monster coming out of a vortex. There's a whole there's a shirt called Deep Sleep where it's just a stream of consciousness of all these dream sequences of monsters. I even, cliche enough, had a shirt called Monsters Under the Bed, and it's literally monsters coming out of the fucking bed. And but slowly but surely, that in the beginning, the reception for my brand was really high, and really it was great in the beginning. But slowly but surely, that scene kind of died out, I think, with the end of the scene kid and emo shirt era. And it was only until I met you where we started talking about our love of tattoos. And at that time, I had started falling in love with American traditional and had started dabbling with just painting American traditional, that I made the move to, turn sleep terror, my love of monsters, horror, and um, my experiences with sleep and dreams into a a, an American traditional brand. And also during the pandemic, I made the pivot to my other focuses outside of my brand, like my own personal interests of Satanism, the occult, you know, uh, Gnosticism, and all the spirituality that I was going through, and made something that somehow people seem to resonate with, because uh, my brand suddenly had a message behind it, and it was, you know, to embrace your uniqueness and find the power in being different. That was the whole messaging behind my brand. I think I even messaged you in the pandemic. I was like, dude, I got it. I have the
You
slogan.
did.
It's follow
I
your own
remember.
path.
Follow your own path. I remember that. When you had that epiphany moment, you were like, you messaged me, you like, and then the next few weeks you were like worried that it was too close to like the self-care mantra motto type thing of like, is it in the same, am I following you? I'm like, dude, no, you just found your fucking niche. You went from and I remember what I was going to say earlier, by the way. You went from this part of your life to realizing that it's not just this; it's bigger than this, and you just expanded your horizon and opened your funnel for your niche more, and you refined it at the same time, which is funny. But what I was going to say earlier was maybe the fact that so we talk about mental capacity and you can only take on so much. Maybe you haven't had them as much because you took that out of your life by using that mental capacity for something else, like your brand. And maybe you haven't had one of those episodes because of that. It's been like all of these outlets you have because you've started the brand to kind of like recognize that and experience that and kind of get over that. Maybe you kind of got over that and you moved on to realizing you're following your own path and okay, well, I'm gonna do my witchcraft type stuff, my magic type stuff. And what was the other thing you said? Gnosticism. Not
Oh, yeah, Gnosticism.
okay.
Sorry, I have a
Tell me what
lisp.
that is because
So
I don't know what that is. Tell me what that is.
that that's actually where the Dan Higgs comes from. Like like all the Dan Higgs tattoo art, like that's Gnostic tattoo. Like there's another guy named Christopher, I forgot his last name, but
Scott.
it's this, I think it is. He's the one with all the
Yeah,
eyeballs and like
yeah,
the
Christopher
crazy
Scott.
pixelated art. Yeah.
He's married to
So,
a girl I went to high school with. Yeah, I know
oh
him.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
he
crazy.
actually shares. He's a really, really awesome dude, and he shares a art space with our friend Shane Harris, who owns the Other Place Signs in Hagerstown, Maryland, who painted our shop windows. So small world.
That's very cool. Yeah. But and I don't share this too much with like the art that I put out with Sleep Terror, but a lot of it comes from um uh, a lot of occult belief systems and occult sciences. And it's just one of those things that I don't think I like need to share because it almost overcomplicates it, you know? Like no one needs to know like my like belief and love for hermetic magic or Enochian magic because that's like a whole rabbit hole that you kind of need to discover on your own. And that's actually the fun behind it. And that's when sleep terror became fun again for me is during the self-discovery period of 2020 where I started all this spiritualism of meditating and understanding hermetic magic and reading the teachings of John Dee, Eliphas Levi, and Aleister Crowley, and that's where my belief system of if God is love, then I am God because I love myself, and that's where my moniker of self love comes from. Is that you know be as weird as you want to, as long as it makes you happy and you feel special and you feel cared for by yourself. And that's my messaging behind my brand. And that's without meeting you, I don't think I would have found that, to be honest.
You may not have as a brand or whatever, and I may have helped you like get there, but it was there already. You know what I mean? You did that.
I
Tell us
needed
more
that push.
about well, that's something I'm good at. I'm good at pushing people, and I'm good at recognizing what people are capable of before they are.
Well,
Something I
prior to
feel like
you,
I get with my grandma. I get it from my grandma, so I can't take credit from it.
prior to you, I was completely like happy with being in a silo. Like it's me against everyone else. Like fuck everyone else. I'm gonna do it on my own. And during 2020 and after I met you, I also like something that stuck with me that I discovered during shadow work and meditation was that like no matter what, people need people. That's just who we are. We need people to evolve. We need people to survive because, and
You're
this
totally
sounds
right.
so cliche, no man is a fucking island.
No, you're
And
right, dude.
as much as you want to just like be alone, you need other people, you need other perspectives to grow. And
And dude, you're
I
totally
I
right.
opened my doors to growth and I was welcome to grow and I needed to grow because
And you
I was so stubborn and set in my ways that I needed a change, and I'm so happy that I did change.
and you did that exactly like you just said. It was not me. You were open to listening to ideas and brainstorming. And it was just us having conversations. And usually when I'm having a conversation with someone that means something to me, conversation wise or person wise, it's usually about something deep. And usually when you're talking about something deep, there's some type of problem that you're trying to solve, whether you realize it or not. That's what your game is, and you're venting about it because you're trying to get a brainstorm session. And whenever you talk to someone venting, usually the person that you're venting to comes back with solutions and things that they relate to your story with that may help you and yada yada. And dude, that's all I ever do for people is like when they have something going on, I try to be an ear and I try to brainstorm with them and bounce ideas off of like, maybe this will help, maybe that'll help. Just like last episode, we were talking about my one on one with Jackie and how she was worried about this, that, and the other with her future, and we came up with some possible solutions. She's been doing them, and dude, her mood has improved tenfold. She's been mega happy, and I'm telling you, by the end of the year, he doesn't listen to the podcast, like I said, so he won't know that I say this, but I'm calling it right now. By the end of the year, he's going to propose. It's going to happen.
He better.
But anyways, he
Lord of the
fucking
Rings
better.
fucking wedding. Lord of the
Look, if
Rings
he
wedding.
doesn't,
Let's go.
Julie's gonna, because she already said that. If he doesn't, then Julie's gonna, and I'm sure that Jackie'd be game. They're both bi, you know. They can get married.
Dude, I mean, again, I'm going to say it. I said it like 4 times already. Lord of the fucking Rings wedding. Who
Dude, can I
doesn't
just be
want that?
Schmeagol? Please? Can I just be Schmeagol? And I want to hold the rings and walk down, and then when you guys ask for them, I'll bite your fingers off, run away, and it'll be all fit. It'll be fine. But anyways, I just I've related to what you were saying in that aspect, and um, I don't know. I want you also just to tell us a little bit more about what'd you say it was? Hermetic magic?
Yeah, so Hermetic
Tell me a
magic.
little bit about that because I don't know anything about that too, and I think that now's your chance to, if you don't want to get into like the nitty gritty for the brand's sake and to just kind of like have the feeling there, now's your chance to get into that nitty gritty and tell us really what this shit's about because I'm so interested, dude. Like, there's more aspects to this than I realized. It's really cool.
I think I think it would have to be in another episode because once I get started, it's
Even just an
going.
example or two.
Well, the premise of Hermetic magic is that you are the. This is going to be a butchered version of it just to be digestible, but
That's
basically,
okay.
you are the controller or you are the writer of the story, and that some might argue that it's not the precursor to what some might call the left hand path, but it's about you. It's all about you, you and your own. That's what it's about. Again, it's a very paraphrased version of it, but that's my interpretation of Hermetic magic in its basic nature. And next episode, next episode I will cover all of, or at least the main points of Hermetic magic. How about that? Just
Dude,
to
let's
keep you in
talk about it. That
suspense.
would be great. I would love that. Um, I'm down with it. And it sounds a lot like manifestation to me.
Well, it's part of that, and that's why I didn't even know that you were into that stuff until the podcast. And like
See, this is
I'm
why we need this
100%
shit.
in stuff. Yep, I'm 100% into that, and like I am fully embraced in the core of what Satanism is. Of not what you hear about with all the social justice warrior stuff that the Satanic Temple is, but just that the core ideals of Satanism, that you should prioritize you and your happiness and those around you in your circle,
You
and that's
matter.
yes, and your individualism matters. you know Making yourself happy before others, that resonates with me because if you're not happy, how are you supposed to make others happy? And that's how I
You
take it.
can't.
And so
You
I'm
can't.
fully
Yeah.
uh, sorry to my mom who listens to this, sorry to my mother-in-law who listens to this, but
Man, don't be sorry.
well, it's a little disappointing for them because they don't we don't see eye to eye with this, but
That's
um
okay. That's not their
I'm
podcast, baby. It's yours.
exactly. Satanism makes me happy. It makes me feel whole, and that's where like it makes me feel like I'm in control. And I think that's what religion is for most people. You want some sort of grounding, and while some want to, I'm not pointing out any religion in specific, but you want to be guided in a certain direction. Satanism for me is I am my own guide. I am the one who dictates what I do. And if I make a mistake, I own up to it. That's what it is. I'm not seeking forgiveness from anyone else except for myself. That's how I see it.
Dude, I absolutely love that. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I've never looked into Satanism. I don't know any of the core beliefs or anything, but as you're saying this, I feel like it just lines up with my like internal morals. or morale or whatever you want to call it. It just sounds
Dude,
right.
there's a
Like you do what feels right and what you know your gut tells you is right, and that you matter and that you're important. And if anyone out there has any ill will or connotation towards Satanism, and if you've never actually researched it, just give yourself 5 minutes to research it, whether you think you're going to change your mind or not. Use it as fuel for the people that you want to argue against, at least. Because I didn't know any of these beliefs about it before you explained it to me, and that sounds beautiful. It really sounds
so a little
beautiful.
bit of you asked me about Hermetic magic. So one of the forefounders, or one of the people who pushed Hermetic magic, is Eliphas Levi. So you know Baphomet, right? The goat-headed man, woman,
Oh yeah,
beast.
yeah, yeah. We all know Baphomet. I'd say
Yes.
Baffy.
So Eliphas Levi is the one who coined the phrase "as above, so below," so within, so without, as the universe, blah blah blah. So the reason he's also the person who illustrated Baphomet, and the reason why it's a man, a woman, a beast, is supposed to illustrate that no matter who we are all connected in this universe, and we're all equal, no matter what. And it just so happens that Satanism, whether it's the Satanic Temple, the Church of Satan, with Anton LaVey, it's an icon for Satanism, because we're supposed to be all equal. Actually, I take that back about Anton LaVey, because he hated gay people. But it's it's now part of Satanism, because Satanism is supposed to be that we're all equal, and there is some
All inclusive.
spiritual part of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, dude. I had no idea that that's where the imagery came from and how it came to be. Um, wow, that's beautiful. It makes me even more proud to wear sleep terror stuff and to have like I was gonna send you a picture later to surprise you, or post it on my story tomorrow to surprise you. But I redecorated my station, and I don't know if you remember my station before. I had the self love pennant that you made with Baffy on it,
Baffy.
above Velma, which is my hutch that I tattoo off of. But I redecorated everything and I put it back up in a new spot, and I'm so happy to have it back up because it just makes me feel really happy having it there. Seeing a little reminder of you and all the people that compliment that they're like, "That's really cool. Where'd you get it?" I'm like, "Man, Sleep Terror clothing. It's sold out, but he might do a re-release. You never know. If you beg him, he might do
I already
it."
did. The self love Baphomet
Ooh,
is
baby.
probably gonna.
You,
It's still there. I got 15 left, I think.
oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. I might buy a handful of those to sell at the shop. I'll talk to you about that later.
If you want, I'll sell them
Um,
to you at cost.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, okay, so man, that's beautiful. I didn't
Honestly,
realize
this
Satanism
conversation,
was as
I
cool
I'll,
as it is.
I think there's a lot of conceptions of what Satanism is, and this is again why I miss 2020 and the lockdown so much, is because I was fully immersed in it, and now, like, this, you're the first person who's asked me about it in a while, and yeah, I still try and like stick to my guns about it, but it's also, I haven't really done the deep dive like I did before, where I was fully immersed in it. And
Yeah,
now I kind of think I need
maybe
uh
you just
to
reignited a little fire inside you. Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, I still do a bunch of rituals at home, and these rituals are like, it's not like a yen can cook recipe. It's something that I just did to make myself feel good, and
Tell us about
uh
those. Tell us what kind of
yeah.
rituals you mean.
Oh,
Because I have a few that aren't like satanic. it per se, or any kind of religion per se, but I have a few ritualistic type things that I do. But tell us some of the ones that you do.
So it's like no different. Like the way I see rituals, right? They're like no different from us writing stuff on our whiteboard and reminding ourselves to brush our teeth, take our meds.
Exactly.
It's just
It's just a
it
routine.
because those right. It's just a routine, and those things make us feel human, or make us feel like we're ready to get along with the day. And one of the things that I do is after I clean the apartment on Sundays, every Sunday I clean the apartment. And after I clean the physical space, I try and clear the spiritual space by taking my little thing of Palo Santo and sage, and I take my magic dagger, my athane, and just kind of spread the smoke around to just kind of clear the energy to almost like start the week fresh. Like no
And
matter what negativity was happening in the week before, we're going to purge it. We're going to fucking spiritually enema this shit and fucking shoot that shit out. It's a brand new week. That's how I see
and it's just like
um, Sundays.
and it's kind of like a manifestation type thing where you're taking this, you're setting your intention of, I'm going to clear the negative energy from my space, and you're burning some holy wood, some Palo Santo, which is just like basically incense. You're burning some sage. You're setting your energy of like, all right, all the bad, get out. This is a space for creation, yada yada. Like all the bad, get out. And you think about that, and it's a form of manifestation of just putting yourself in that mindset and believing it and doing it often enough to where it's just something you do to make you feel good. And whether or not it's working on like any other level doesn't matter, but it for sure fucking does, because energy is far more powerful than what people realize and what we've been taught. So that's really cool. I
Yeah,
really love that.
yeah. Like prior to that, I had always seen myself as uh an atheist, like someone who really did not like religion. And part of it stemmed from my dad passing away, because my dad was never a religious person, and when he was passing, he you know he asked for a priest, and for some reason I saw that as a sign of weakness. For the longest time I saw that as a sign of weakness, and as I got older and matured more, I realized that it's not a sign of weakness. It's you know it's a sign that we all want to believe in something. We all want to believe that there's something after this, and and that's okay. And so that just kind of uh, turned me into, whatever you want to put a label on it. I no longer put a label
It just turned
on
you off
what I
to
believe.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I no
Yeah.
longer
I
believe in
get you.
labels. And part of atheism that like really bothers me now is that it's just shitting on someone else's belief because you don't believe in it. Um, One thing that Satanism has taught me is acceptance. Because I may not believe in what you believe, and vice versa. You may not believe what I believe, but I accept that you seek out this higher something to make you feel better. And I'm doing the same. It's like that Death Cab for Cutie lyric. I don't remember the lyric, but uh, it's just a
You'll
different.
insert it here.
It's a
Lyric. I love that.
it's the same shit, different toilet. That's the best
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
analogy
yeah.
I can put. I can put.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking like, am I a Satanist? What the fuck? Because you said your acceptance of other people's beliefs is the biggest thing, and I want to say that's probably my biggest turnoff for most religions is because I see the way that the people who practice in parentheses that religion in parentheses, um, the way they practice it is not so wholesome and not so accepting of other people. And I feel like if you're gonna base like a religion is a life belief, right? Like that's something you want to base your life morals on, and you kind of want to revolve the way you live your life around. Um, and if your religion says, "Hey, this person doesn't believe what I believe," I need to force them to believe what I believe or kill them. That's fucked up. But if a religion says, hey, you don't believe what I believe, that's okay with me. I'm going to continue to do what I need to do and believe what I believe and respect that you believe something completely different and go about my day. Which one sounds nicer to you? Because to me, it's definitely the latter. And I know every single person listening except for like hardcore maybe Christians or Catholics are going to think the opposite and think like they're not going to be listening to this anyways. They wouldn't have gotten this far, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
Your normal brain, your societal brain would tell you the opposite. So that resonated with me with when you said that. This is an awesome conversation, man. I'm glad to have this with you.
me too. I did not expect it to evolve into this.
Yeah, no, me
Um,
neither.
but I mean, even with Satanism, so I was a member of the Satanic Temple for a little while, but some of the stuff that they were doing did not align with my belief system. Because, like, yes, I believe in social justices and equality and stuff like that, but at a certain point, you know, at a certain point, when you start mocking another religion, for example, Christianity pointing out Satan as the adversary, that's actually what um, Satan and Lucifer stand for. And on the other side of the spectrum of Satanism, where you're claiming God as the adversary, you're basically just saying the exact same thing. And that's
Yeah,
not what I
literally, you're
stand
both
for, of
just
one,
hypocritical.
exactly, one religion mocking the other. And, without one mocking the other, there is neither of them exist, because that's how it works. Within Christianity, what empowers that religion is that there is a villain. The villain is Satan, Lucifer, the fallen angel, the one who defied God. In Satanism, the adversary is God. Like that just seems ridiculous to me. Like the
But
two can coexist.
but okay, so you're saying that even as someone who believes in these things, there's still things that you disagree with, and it doesn't completely fit every single one of your morals, which is, I feel like, something that someone wouldn't expect someone to say when they're so passionate about something like this. And that's
Right.
refreshing. It's refreshing to hear someone, I don't know, openly agree to slightly agree with something and not 100% and not just be balls in or balls out, like that's just
Right.
refreshing to me. I like when people can also change their mind, and that's cool too.
I think the other thing that like differentiates me from like the I like to call them social media Satanists is that my belief in a non-theistic Satan, meaning like not Satan as like a demon, right? My belief as a non-theistic Satan means that somehow a non-theistic God has to exist because the one doesn't exist without the other existing.
Okay, yeah.
And but at the same time, both like sides mean love. With Satanism, there's left hand path love, where it's you love you, you are the center, and you love your family and the people close to you. With Christianity, the other side, like the yin to the yang, it's it's you love everyone and you treat everyone, we're supposed to treat everyone equally, but we all know that that's not the
That
case
does
with
not fucking
Christianity.
happen with. Nope.
And this is where Hermeticism plays a role, because think about it, that's a duality. That's the as above, so below. That's the man and the woman and the beast. And that's where I started really believing in the whole concept of Baphomet, because there is no light without dark, there is no God without Satan, and that's when I realized that it's all connected. We are all connected. Nothing
Dude, yes.
exists without a counterpart.
You are so right. You could not have said it any better, literally. And man, I can't say how many times. I don't know how many more times I'll say this, but I didn't know this is where our conversation was going to go tonight. I'm so glad that we didn't like say, "Oh, let's do this tomorrow" or whatever. Um, but the thing that's the biggest turnoff for me is something that you just kind of touched on, is the duality. Um, for Christians, typically, what I've what I've tended to experience in life is Christians will be loving, caring, yada yada, all the good stuff on the outside and when it's good for them and when people are watching, but then be the most judgmental of people when they're not. And the biggest thing for me is zero open mindedness. It's like you're ingrained to think this is it only. And if you don't believe this, I'll pray for you. And that's
Right.
fucked. That is the most annoying. I'm sorry, man. I don't care who you are out there. If you tell me I'll pray for you, I'm literally saying out loud, fuck you. I don't care who you are. If you're my grandma, if you're my mom, I don't care. Fuck you if you say I'm going to pray for you. Do something, because that ain't doing anything. And if I get it, if you think that's your form of manifestation or whatever, and like I can see your side of it, but the fact that you can't see my side of it is where we fucking lose contact, period. And that's it for me,
Yeah.
man.
And that's the tough part about like why I'm not so open about like sharing my beliefs. Like obviously on the podcast I will, because this is you and me. And
Ain't nobody listening to this but me,
somehow,
you,
dude,
Julie, Jackie, Dad, and Diggy, because I force them to.
that I mean, sure, but somehow about this podcast, it's just like it really is like a the best type of therapy, because it's something that I keep to myself. I don't tell people. Like my wife knows about it, and that's it. I haven't even told my sister, my family, and you
Oh,
knew
yeah.
about it,
I don't talk
but
much. Yeah.
yeah, uh, but it's again, it's my personal belief, and it's no one else's business. But I do think that um, there are some advantages, or not advantages, but benefits to this type of belief system where it's you and your own higher up spirituality versus you going to a communal thing, because you can at least question things. You you can you're your own pastor, you're your own, you're giving your own sermon every time you're meditating or whatever, versus someone telling you what to do. So when they say that like God is your shepherd and you are the flock, stuff like that makes me think that you are following something, and I don't want to be a follower. And that's why the
Literally.
Sleep Terror moniker is follow your own path,
And
because
that's,
no one should tell you shit. No one should tell you what to do except for yourself.
you're right.
And if
And
you want someone to guide you, then
do it.
find someone to guide you. But
That's fine.
at least,
Just let other
you
people
know,
do their thing too.
yeah,
If you want to be guided, let somebody guide you. But don't tell me I need to be guided too just because you did. You know?
exactly.
That that's what drives me nuts.
And it also makes me wonder how many people are programmed into it because, um, if you're born into, or you're raised a certain religion, like, how do you know that there's other things out there? You know, like even in
Well, typically you
I
don't
forgot.
because it's like just it's too hard to even question it. It's like not even heard of.
Well,
Don't
what do the
question
Amish
things.
have? Rumshinga or something like that?
Oh, Rumspringa.
Yeah. So like when you turn 18, you get to venture out and see what's there,
You can
right?
either
And
move
see if it's
out
for you,
and stay
right?
or move out and come back. And that's it. It's one or the other.
And that's something that's like, that concept is cool. I don't you know support it, but I don't support that lifestyle. But I think that's cool that you are giving that choice, because not everyone has that choice. Because if you're brought up in a certain type of religion, in my opinion, you're somewhat limited. You're limiting your scope of of how vast this world is and how much it has to
No, you're
offer.
right. No,
It's like an
you're
untapped
closing your
potential.
mind. Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
But I want to say before I forget it, I can see. Okay, just imagine this. Okay, imagine you're someone who doesn't have the mental capacity to be your own shepherd. You need someone to literally guide you through everything. You need someone to say, these are your coping mechanisms. This is how you get through life. There's this whole book. If you live by these philosophies, you're fine. And you were raised learning that, and your grandparents and their grandparents were raised learning that. You only hang out with people who were raised learning that. And that goes on for generations. And then all of a sudden, the internet happens, and information is easier to obtain. So younger generations start becoming more capable of making their own decisions and having more mental capacity because they understand before needing to make the decision, they understand that there's possibilities of decisions. So that automatically opens up your mental capacity. Okay. So, like, look at it like a tree. If you're a listener and you're not looking at my fingers doing this weird fucking jazz hand thing, look at it like a tree and branches. Okay. So, like, the idea of I need to do this is the stump. It's the tree
Foundation.
itself. It's the foundation, and then the branches are the possibilities. So if you didn't realize you even had them, you would have just kept growing straight up. And you know, take it as whatever analogy you want. Like, yeah, you can go straight up, but I've never seen a tree just go straight up without just falling over. You know what I mean? You have to have some kind of system of balance, and those branches make it balance out to where that stem isn't just going straight up. It has things holding it out, and those um, possibilities are that. And if you just neglect yourself from having them, it's ridiculous to me. I don't know. I got off on a tangent. I'm sorry. I don't even know
No,
exactly
no,
what my end game was on it,
I,
but
I
it
understand.
just
I
made
understand the
had me
question.
thinking. You know,
I mean, sometimes I wonder if, like, my life would be easier if I had blissful ignorance, if I didn't do this self discovery and this deep dive, if I were to just go with the flow and, like I said, float around like a turd, would my life be easier? Probably. but I also wouldn't I wouldn't
You
be
wouldn't
able
feel this
to live
fulfilled,
life.
right?
I wouldn't
You'd
like, I
just
feel
feel
like this is
empty.
living. I feel like
Yeah.
this is living because I'm getting the full blown premium package of what life is. So
And I
I
think
get to
that's,
see. I think that's another part of having friends with, lack of a better term, mental disorders, is that
yeah,
we see
different
life for what it
perspectives.
is. We see life for what it is, and it's not all sunshines and rainbows, and you know my parents will take care of it kind of life. We get to see it for what it is, and life is hard, and I would live it no other way, to be honest.
You're right.
I like
I say it all the
I
time. Existence is
appreciate
pain.
it is, and I've told you before, like, happiness happiness is a moment, and we're all trying to latch on to it, but just trying to find that happiness and understand what makes us happy. That's what makes us human.
You're right. And I think my point I was trying to make that I forgot, and I'm going to spout it out before I forget again, was imagine you're one of those people that, you need that type of guidance, and everyone around you has always needed it and had it, and you thought nothing else. You'd probably be scared when someone says, no, 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 no. You can think however you want. And this fucking book has told you, no, no, no. People that tell you that are the devil. You know what I mean? It would be so easy to trap yourself mentally and believe these type of things. So I can see their perspective and understand it and feel bad for them and almost like full circle ironically want to say, I'll pray for you. But um it doesn't help, like I'm just grateful to be able to see different perspectives. And I feel like once you put yourself in certain religions and certain mindsets and belief systems, which is all that a religion is, it's a mindset and a belief system. Once you put yourself in that and you pigeonhole yourself, you're not able to experience everything. You're not able to see other experiences and other perspectives and understand what life can really be. And you're really cutting your foot off. Like you're just being like, I'm cool with having one foot and struggling. It's fine. But you don't even see yourself as struggling because all the other people around you have one foot. You're just used to seeing
Exactly.
people with one foot. It's fucking ridiculous. And I know we got
Yeah.
super off tangent here or off
No, but
topic.
I
I'm going to count. I want you to have a counter. Don't actually do this because I don't want to stress you out. Have a counter of how many times I said tangent because it's been like my fucking
no, it's okay.
obsessive word of the week.
I mean, I love it, and I'm happy that we went this route because you know, I think about this stuff all the time. Um, and it's difficult for me to speak about it openly because it is a loaded topic. Because as soon as I mention something other than the status quo, it becomes an argument. Because
Taboo.
yeah, like, I live on the fringe. You know, as soon as someone finds out that it's not the norm, questions, it's something that challenges their beliefs, and no one likes to have their beliefs challenged. And then on my side, I want to understand the other side. Like, I'll go out of my way to understand, you know, other religions because I want to know. I want to understand. Like, I don't have to accept them, but I'm willing to learn. And I think a lot of people who subscribe to, theistic religions that believe in a god, or whatever you want to call it, God, or the one all be all being, they don't like to be challenged. And I think, you know you as a human being, you are meant to be challenged, and
Yeah. You should
your
accept
beliefs should be
challenge.
challenged.
You should
Your
embrace
belief
it.
system your belief system should be challenged.
Fuck yeah.
And
You
and,
should
and
feel
you know,
uncomfortable.
exactly. It's um Eleanor Roosevelt said that, you should, I'm going to butcher it,
Fuck
but
it.
you should do something every day that makes you uncomfortable until it's no longer uncomfortable. And that's one thing that has like resonated with me throughout my whole life, is that like as soon as you become comfortable, that's it. Like that means that you're done. You
But
want
you
Without
become
uncomfortability,
comfortable
you cannot grow.
and then get back to getting uncomfortable. Just don't stay uncomfortable. You know what
That's
I
that
mean?
level up, and that's how I, after listening to the last episode, that's when I realized, this hump right now of having this no drawing spell is just another level of uncomfortability where I have to just push through it, and the next round of drawings will come. And every single time, my next round of drawings always supersede the one before. So,
What are
you
you
just have to
doing
fight through
Sunday
it.
at 1 p.m.?
Going to church.
Cool.
Just kidding.
Church is going to be me and you drawing together,
Do you want to?
going live
I'd love
because we
that.
haven't done it.
For
We
old
haven't done it
time's
in
sake.
years, and
We haven't done
it's
it.
going to be great. You need to draw. I need to draw, and it's going to get you out of your funk. This Sunday at 1 p.m. If you're listening, it was last Sunday at 1 p.m. If we did it, um, but no, really, dude, let's do it.
Shall we hit him with the
I
outro?
forgot exactly. No, let me get one more thing. I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, so you gave us a lot of backstory. I feel like there's more we could talk about, and I'm sure we will. Um, but
I owe you the
what do
7
you
principles of
think?
Hermeticism.
We'll do that next episode. I want to talk more about this. I want it to be a part two. Um,
I think
magic.
you would be really into it, honestly.
We'll make the first episode something something magic with like 1K, and then the second one has like a second K, and it's like part two. But it just
I don't.
has
I
two.
honestly, I didn't. I'm a little upset that I never made the connection that you would actually be kind of into the 7 principles of Hermeticism,
Man,
because I
god
think
damn
it
it.
really jives with
Anyways,
what you're about.
we'll talk about it
But we'll
next
do it.
episode.
We'll do it next
I
episode or the
promise.
one after.
All right. So tell me your biggest influence art wise, whether it is a person, place, thing, feeling, whatever. What's your biggest inspiration art wise? And I'll answer it too, um, whenever you're done. And if you need to take a second to think about it, go ahead. But there can be anything. It could be magic. It could be, the fact that you had sleep paralysis. It could be tattoos. It could be a feeling, an emotion, a thought, music.
Oh no, I got it. It's honestly Dan Higgs. Dan Higgs's art is mesmerizing. There's something about his art, right, that transforms traditional tattoos for me, because it was so different from, the swallows, the eagles, the anchors at that time, that it was just so strange. And I've always been captivated by the strange and the bizarre stuff. Like when I look at, something like his Druid, that's a pretty classic
I
Dan Higgs
love that
piece.
druid. Actually,
It's just like,
Ziggy just almost hung up one of the ones that he painted today. Go ahead.
I remember that because I
It's
remember
like a wood cutout
on
that him and Dad made a
I
bunch of. Pretty cool.
I messaged him like way back when he had a Dan Higgs flash piece, and I was like, dude, I love these. I want to get these tattooed. And like, there's just something about his art that's like so captivating and so mysterious. There's like an arcane nature to it that I don't know what it is, and I don't know what
There's
it
that
means.
uncanny valley, like macabre type of feeling. You know, it's like that
Yeah,
unnatural. It's not something you normally see.
yeah, like it's foreign, and I like the foreign aspect of it, and I like the unknown. And
There's
that's how
also
I've
a
always
visceral
seen his stuff.
element to it.
Yeah, dude,
There's a primal connection to it that's it's unspeakable. It's just you have to feel it.
some of his like later stuff, like his murals, are just like the only word to describe it is unhinged because it's so weird. And I'm actually still waiting on a book from him uh, that my wife bought me. I think like 2019 as a wedding gift that I have not received. It's like his most popular book. I don't remember the name, but I have a bunch of Dan Higgs books, and
When
they're just
did you reach out to him about it or anything?
my wife did, but at this point, it's whatever. It's been so long. It's
You
fine.
tell
He
me
doesn't
what book
tattoo
it is,
anymore.
and we'll. Oh, I know he doesn't tattoo anymore, but you
I think
tell me what book it
it's a
is, and we'll
Doomsday
figure it out.
one. But even his music is just so strange, and I
I didn't
like
know
the
he made
strange.
music.
Yeah, I think his band is
What
called
type of music?
Lungfish. It's kind of drony, very. It's like folky drony music. Um,
What do you
but
mean by
that's the only way I
drone?
can describe. Like doom drone, like
Okay,
son of
like Electric Wizard, like stoner metal, like
kind of
atmospheric.
kind of
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I can
Atmospheric is
get
the
down
best
with
way to
that.
describe it.
I love
And
atmospheric, like black metal esque.
yeah, yeah, kind of. Um, it's that same atmosphere, and the other one is 100% Eliphas Levy's drawings. Um, like the original drawing of Baphomet, like it's kind of ingrained in the back of my head. Just something about it. Just that yin and yang duality about above so below just always resonates with me because there's just so much in that drawing because uh you're just gonna have to look at it and examine it. But
Yeah, no, I
and
agree. It's something you
it
just have to
and
see to experience.
for those who will go down that path, like you'll go into that path of as above so below, and then you'll find solvet coagula because that's inscribed on
Ah, hell
Baphomet.
yeah,
And that's also another thing that's been a part of my brand. um it's
definitely.
just about rebirth, that solvet coagula in alchemy is about breaking down what you have to build something new, and that's how I see my brand, is that it's always evolving because we as people evolve, we change, our interests change, so why wouldn't our brands? Because my brand is an extension of me.
You're goddamn right, dude. You do not have to solidify yourself in concrete shoes when you're making a brand. Even if you name yourself something, you can change your name later. You know, like you can always do something else. It's your brand. That's what I love so much about having a brand in general, and not just like a keychain company or like a blah blah blah. Oh, I make patches. No, like it's a brand. I can make whatever the fuck I want, any way I want, and if it falls under the category of something that I like, it's my brand and it's on brand. And
Yeah,
that's what I love. I didn't just hearing you say all these things solidifies so many feelings and like philosophies I have on my brand and how it makes me feel. That I hope other people that listen that have brands can relate as much as I have, and if not, anyone else that feels anything from this is great, man. Good or bad. I mean, feeling something's good. Just embracing that uncomfortability um, is what life's about. Like, quit being comfortable all the time. And that was my point earlier, again, to go on one last little spiel about motherfuckers that want to call themselves Christians. Um, the fact that you feel uncomfortable when something or someone says something that you don't agree with, that's okay. You probably should feel uncomfortable a little bit more, because the way that the outside world is looking at you is like you live in this little tiny velvet egg of a fleece blanket you're just laying in all the time. And whenever someone says something you don't like, we visualize you as like this little baby bird who hasn't hatched yet, someone poking at them, and you're going, eh. It's like, no, just understand that it's okay being uncomfortable, and it's okay to like listen to people say things that you don't understand and hear other perspectives. That was my point earlier that I was trying to make, and I wanted to
I mean,
say it
I
again.
I would
Sorry.
hope that, people would feel that way, but most of the time I feel like that where, you know, it's difficult for me to tell people what I believe because, like I'm human and I care what people think, or at least like I don't want to disrupt the um, the social situation. So for the greater good of the conversation and the greater good of the atmosphere, I will not throw my personal beliefs in there because it is a loaded personal belief. Because as soon as, first of all, in any social situations, if anyone asks you what you believe in, you should get the fuck out because that's a loaded question
Oh
right
yeah,
right
no,
away.
they're just looking for an argument. That's
Yeah,
all that is. Literally, they're just there to fucking. It's like you're at a hardcore show, and the guy that's looking around with no eyes, you don't mosh with him.
yeah. Like I'll tell you this right now, you'll never hear this from me. Like, what do you believe in? I'll never ask that because I don't care. I really don't care. What you believe in is your own right. Who the fuck cares? I don't care if you believe in God. I don't believe you care in, whatever. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Like, are you happy? That's what I care about.
That's what I care about too. I feel like if there was anything I got out of, how can I word this without sounding like a dickhead? Um, I don't know. I'll just, I don't know. I was gonna say, if there's anything I've gotten out of um, all of the shit that we've rambled about tonight, that I'll listen to 3 or 4 more times and then forget about the rest of my life. Um, if there's anything I've gotten out of it tonight, is that you and I have one of the same main philosophies, and that is we trust our guts. And our guts tell us this is right and this is wrong. And we typically go with what feels right instead of what feels wrong. And sometimes, yeah, we will go with the like, I know this is wrong, but the consequences aren't as high as, you know what I mean? Like, we're not
Yeah, I
perfect.
traced on
We're
Pinterest.
still
That's
shitheads.
fine.
Fuck you. You traced it too. But you know what I mean? We ride the line just like everyone else, but I think the best thing I've gotten out of it is knowing that we trust our gut and that we want to just be authentic and we want to be ourselves, and that's what it boils down to. Like, we want to be ourselves and not like intrude on others and like make them feel uncomfortable in any way. And I know that you were trying to hit us with the outro a little bit ago, and then I went on 10 more,
Well, I'm gonna end it
15
with
minutes
this,
or
bro.
more of
All
shit.
right.
But no, I have one more thing I wanted to say.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
no, you go ahead because I'll remember it. I'll write it down real quick while you're talking. Go ahead.
No, no, you go because I'm gonna finish us off with this one quote by this super sophisticated woman, and then we'll go into the outro.
Okay, cool. All right, so this doesn't exactly pertain to what we were talking about, but it did 5 minutes ago in some kind of connection in my brain. So I'll just get to it anyways. Um, the last thing I wanted to say that I want people to think about is that something I thought about earlier today, and I talked about with Jackie, and we came to the realization together of like, ever since the internet became a thing, we have treated social media the same as we do real life. We give it the same energy. We act as if it's just as real as real life, and we let it affect us and change our emotions just as much as we do real life. And that is fucked. And one thing that I did last night by accident that made me realize it was I have been scheduling posts for the last few weeks. And right now I'm like 2.5, 3 weeks out. So I almost have a month's worth of scheduled posts.
That's
And
awesome.
whenever I feel like it, I'll add 2 or 3 days worth or whatever to each page. And Jackie and I are developing a system to where like we're getting ahead of it. We're batching content. We're doing all the shit like the way that I knew I should have been doing it, but I had to develop my own bullshit and fuck up as much as I needed to develop this strategy. But I realized like I used to post something in the moment as like I would feel it and I would post it, and then I would still feel it and I would like check to see notifications, and I would keep living that moment, and I would just keep it going, and all day I'm living in that moment. I'm living online because I posted something there instead of utilizing online as a tool, as a resource, as a business strategy. I was utilizing it as real life and swapping it out for real contact with people. It's not
Social.
real
Project.
contact,
You were
guys.
projecting.
It's not real contact. It is online. Think about this to put it in perspective for you. You can't touch it. It's not tangible. It doesn't exist. It is up in the cloud. It's on the internet. All of the bullshit. Our
Until
businesses,
you buy
all
our
that
stuff,
shit.
then it's in your hand.
Yeah, our businesses, all that bullshit. It's just online until it comes in the mail. Until you feel it. And we treat it as if it's real before we even get it. And that is the realization I had last night by accident. I just didn't pick up my phone for 8 hours straight, which is the first time I've done that in probably well over a year. 8 hours, dude. My phone, like this app I have, Opal, it congratulated me for not opening my phone for 8 hours. I was like, son of a bitch, this is fucked up. My phone just told me, thanks for not picking me up. And I was like, hell yeah, bro. I got dopamine out of that. It was fucking ridiculous. That's the last thing I wanted to say.
No, I
Stop
mean,
treating online like it's real because it's fucking not. And the more you minimalize it and the more you belittle your online presence and just like treat it like a tool and only put positive out, you won't give a fuck.
yeah. I was going to say the exact same thing because I was in a routine of scheduling my posts well in advance and just not getting the type of engagement I was getting if I was just like posting
In the moment or
spontaneously, right?
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah, you won't get as good of
But
engagement, but your sales will be the same.
yes, you're right. Because it's not about like the followings, the likes, it's about, and this sucks. It's about a routine. And I think that's a common theme of our podcast. It's like falling into a routine. And that's what I'm starting to do. And I'm so happy you told me about the meta scheduling, the meta planner,
My
because
guy.
my strategy right now is post and ghost. I post it, leave it
Mm-mm-mm.
alone.
You
I don't give a
ghost it.
fuck if you
Nope.
like it, whatever.
No,
But
no, no. You
I'm
need
gonna
to
end
look
the
at those
episode.
analytics. You need to do all the shit.
Oh, I do. I do. I
Anyways,
do. And the
hit
fucking
us
thing
with
that
the
sucks about it,
outro.
the fucking thing that sucks is the post and ghost approach works. And so why wouldn't I stick with it? But the advantageous part about the post and plan is that I have room to do so much more stuff if I plan ahead. So it's that balance. But I'm gonna end you with a quote from that woman that I told you about, this philosopher, Kim Kardashian. Can I just live? Hit him with the outro.
Oh, this is the Self Care Disciples podcast. My name is Sutton. His name is John. We record every Thursday. John edits it and tries to put it out Fridays and Saturdays the following week. Tell us where you can find us, John.
Like Sutton said, we post weekly. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. This episode and
YouTube!
the one before, you will be able to find on YouTube. I am so goal oriented to get these episodes on YouTube. So you'll be able to see our silly faces and our
Everything.
spirit fingers
Everything.
on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, tell us whatever you thought of the podcast. Make sure to hit us with 5-star reviews if you liked it, or if you didn't like it, hit us with 5-star reviews anyway. And make
Yeah,
sure
and
to
if you
follow us.
didn't like it and you listened, then fuck